All right, baby, JohnnyCast episode 9. We're now one away from double digit number 10. And if you're watching on YouTube, I have such a special mullet. I mean, it is such a great haircut right now. I'm pumped up. It just feels right. If you're listening only on audio, which is, I guess, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, unfortunately, you're out of luck. But I'm going to stop speaking for a second. So for the audio only people, don't think there's an error with the podcast or that maybe your internet's out. It's just Johnny doing some blue steel and modeling for the YouTube peeps. So just give me a second. I mean, come on now with that shit. I'll do it again. Come on now. Now, since we're on the topic of hair, I think this is a relatively common thought, but I could be completely wrong here. But if you're a guy, I feel like when you go to a barbershop maybe once a month or twice a month, or maybe if you're crazy, 3 or 4 times a month, this is a thought that runs into my head every time I'm getting my hair cut. And maybe I'm crazy, like I said, but I sit down in that chair, and the second I sit down in that chair and that buzzer hits my head, I go, holy shit, I'm getting botched. I'm getting absolutely smoked. What am I going to do? Should I wear a hat tonight? Or should I, as soon as I leave this barber, go to a different one and have him fix it? Or maybe I just don't do either of those things and just wear it, and everyone's like, oh my God, look at this idiot with this bad haircut. And then during the haircut, I'm kind of like thinking to myself, and I'm judging how he's doing it. I'm like, oh my God, dude, come on. Why aren't you paying attention, bro? Start cutting the left side of my hair more. He's not paying attention, and maybe he forgot. And I'm going, oh my God. And then the end of the haircut happens, and he takes out that little mirror on the handle, and he goes, good. And you look at it, and you go, yeah, whatever. And then you get up, and you take a look in the main mirror for a quick second. Try not to be too obvious. You go pay him at the register. You then leave. You're not touching your hair as you leave, right? You're going, oh shit, I think I got smoked. You go into your car, you're looking at your hair through the rearview mirror, maybe that little flap down thing, that little flip down thing with the light. And you're like, it doesn't look that bad. And then you go home, you get in the shower, you come out of the shower, and you look at it and you go, oh, it's pretty good. And that's what happens every single time I get a haircut. And I don't know if that's a me thing or that's an everyone thing, but maybe it's just trust issues, whatever. But between that and another thing that I don't know if this is because I think over the last year or two, I saw some videos of dudes just coming in, packing heat in the fucking barbershop and just shooting people. And let's keep it real here. If you're getting a good fade, you're probably going to be getting it in not a great area. So now also I'm in the chair, and not only am I pissed that I'm getting what I think botched, even though I haven't seen it yet, but I'm also thinking I'm trying to figure out escape routes for if a guy comes in and starts shooting people. So I'm thinking about all right, do I maybe do I grab the scissors and stab, or do I just run the opposite way? Hopefully if he doesn't shoot me first. I'm out of my mind. So that's what goes into my mind every time I get a haircut. And I mean, to top it off, actually, I made an observation today because a guy was there, and this guy in the barbershop was just literally yucking it up after he got his haircut. And this has gone on in every barbershop I've ever been to, where there's guys who are just how do these guys become best friends with these barbers? It's the weirdest thing. I mean, yeah, when I go there, I sit down. If the guy's been cutting my hair for a while, we make small talk. We're cool. We'll maybe we'll hang out a little bit. But these guys and they're always there's a handball in the hand always, or they're pushing a soccer ball around. They already probably got their haircut. They're hanging out for hours after. They're I know this, you've seen this. They're going through the guy's drawers, they're literally fucking with shit in his barber little cabinet. Who are these guys, and how do they become such great friends with the barber? It's I'm not saying I want to do that. I want to be that guy, but just how does that even happen? Is it organic, or do they know each other before? It's just a very, very odd situation. So that was my thought about the hair. And on my way home from the haircut, I passed a CVS, and I knew I needed floss. I needed dental floss, and for a second, I was going to go pop in there and go grab some. And then I figured to myself, I said, you know what? I'll just Amazon Prime it. And that's when I started thinking about it, the subconscious deep level of why I would rather, instead of just grabbing it right now and having it now, waiting a day or two and Amazon Priming it. And I realized that Amazon Prime, they cracked the code for what people want. People, including myself, I love opening shit. I love and it's I'm not talking about surprises. I'm talking about when you order something and you know it's coming. It's a different genre of excitement. Where it used to be you order a pair of shoes or maybe a video game or something that you couldn't get locally, and then you'd be excited for it to come and you'd see the tracking and it'd be 6 days. Now I'm ordering dental floss and Clorox wipes, and I'm going ooh, it comes on Friday. I can't wait. And then you wait, and the guy drops it off to you, and you open it up it's some special gift, and it's literally you could send me anything. You could send me a jury duty invitation, and it's just in an Amazon Prime box with an Amazon Prime sticker on it, and I'm excited to open it. It's the weirdest thing. It's like a psychological thing. And like, how do they do it with how it's free and it's only 2 days? I'm getting shit so quickly. It's it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. Something about that's just not right. And that's another thing. I know I just mentioned CVS. I mean, is there not a bigger scam in the world than buying cards now? I mean, you walk into a CVS, every card is pretty much the same. It's a piece of paper with like a one-liner poem written on it that some jerk-off at Hallmark was hired to do. I mean, there's sparkles now all over these cards. There's glitter all over them. By the time I'm looking through these cards, there's sparkles stuck to my face and my clothes for weeks. I walk out of there. I walk out of the CVS. I'm in the parking lot. I look like I'm in drag. They're like, I mean, this is the worst part. They're like $12, these cards now. They're charging you, they're smoking you for $12 for this piece of paper with sparkles on it that, unless it's like your mother, no one's reading the contents of that card. You might as well be lighting $10 on fire. I remember when I was a kid that, I mean, during the holiday season, you'd be getting like bookloads of holiday greetings cards with pictures of families that you never even met before. Everyone, your mutual friend of your neighbor is sending you a picture of their whole family with their dog in like snow. I think that's slowing down now, but I mean, I can't imagine this generation sending out cards. I mean, unless maybe, I don't know how that works. Maybe you get married, you start sending cards out. I'm not sending a card of myself in like Santa's lap to people to my distant cousins. I mean, this used to go on back in the day. So CVS just steals money from you, and you know what? Apple steals money from you too. I swear to God. I mean, I used to think I was a good guy when I was a kid because I would buy my music on iTunes. I would buy for 99 cents every song I listened to. I mean, we're talking about thousands of songs. That $2,000 is just now burnt on fire. It's just in the void somewhere. And then I remember they bumped up the price to $1.29. They had the balls, Apple, to say it like was a better quality song for $1.29. And like 11-year-old me thought I was like a good Samaritan buying these things instead of, again, just going on LimeWire like every other person, going on Kazaa, going on FrostWire, and just downloading these songs. I mean, talk about a highway robbery. I would ask for like, instead of asking for like a new pair of Jordans for Christmas, I would ask for iTunes gift cards. So I could listen to like the new Black Eyed Peas song or like the new Ludacris album. They were just highway robbery, stealing money back in the day. What a sin. But also, I can't blame Apple for it all. There was a lot of stupidity on my end. I mean, I remember I would download like full-length feature films, like 3-hour Lord of the Rings movies on iTunes. I would buy them and I would watch them on like a 1-inch like Apple iPod video screen, like a moron. I would sit on my couch in my living room, and instead of watching it on the TV that was in front of me, that was like 45 inches, I would watch it on a 1-inch screen on my Apple Video or iPod Video, whatever it's called. Just being an idiot. And yeah, like I would just download all these like grunge albums. I remember like just throwing money away, even though I guess it's nice you support the artist. And yeah, so and that's another thing too that annoys me is TikTok is slowly gonna start ruining grunge. I've noticed this, unless maybe just my algorithm is going that way, but like everyone bitches and complains that like they kind of TikTok kind of ruined Deftones. And listen, I don't agree with that sort of, because listen, if you make good art and new younger people like it, God bless them, and that's not a big deal. The issue that I have with the grunge situation is that these people, like these young people, they're acting like they're experts in grunge, or like they know what they're talking about because they just discovered it, and they're just making fools out of themselves. I saw 2 different TikToks. One was like this guy ranking top like albums of all time in the genre of grunge. They didn't mention Bush once in the whole thing, and then and like 3 out of the top 5 were like Nirvana albums, which is like whatever. And then the second one was like best grunge vocalists of all time. And the new thing is everyone's circle jerking Alice in Chains. And don't get me wrong, I love Alice in Chains. They're amazing. Lane is amazing, yada, yada, yada. But they had Scott Weiland at like 5 and Lane at number 1 for best grunge vocalist. Are you joking? I wouldn't even consider Fuel grunge. I guess that's post grunge because it's just the time frame. But like Brett was a better vocalist than Lane. I mean, that's a hot take. But just the feeling and the vibe of Alice in Chains, and just like the way some of their projects like flowed and had themes and the way their like effects on each, like they were very, each album had a sound type of thing, was amazing. And sure, Lane was a great talent and a great voice. Chris Cornell, better talent, better voice than Lane. Scott Weiland is my favorite vocalist of all time in grunge, without a doubt. He is just on a different level. So that's annoying me. If that continues to keep up, I'll be upset. I would be very upset. What else does Johnny got to talk about? TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, I'm cracking myself up tonight. Speaking of TikTok, this is hysterical. This guy on my Domino's TikTok clip from my last podcast, he's like, Johnny, well, you got to do a clip on, you got to do a thing on how like all these people in the comments are arguing about New Haven style pizza and New Haven pizza and just New York pizza, and it's like people got to come together and realize a good pie is a good pie. And the guy is 100% spot on. I don't care if it's in Philly, right, or if it's anywhere. If it's good pizza, it's good pizza. Okay, I'm not eating deep dish pizza, but the point is that New Haven pizza is incredible. It's incredible. I've only had Sally's, and it's amazing, and I want to go back and have a lot. But like, that's amazing. You got amazing, obviously, pies in New York, in the boroughs, outside of the boroughs, in Jersey. So there's good pizza everywhere in this tri-state area. So I mean, let's not take sides here. Let's just celebrate pizza for what it is. Although, hot take, pizza's not. I like pizza a lot, but it's like not one of my favorite things in the world. Like people are like, oh my god, pizza's the best. It's not my last. If I'm getting the fucking chair, I'm not picking pizza last. That's a fact. I don't know what I'm picking. Probably stuffed shells with a little bit of, I don't know, but I'm not picking pizza. I'm not doing that. All right. What else we got? I noticed this. Listen, make fun of me all you want. I was eating sober Taco Bell a couple days ago. I had to do it because I just was in the mood, and I just noticed this too. It's like how many packets do we think Taco Bell makes of sauce? When you ask for sauce from them, the people at the drive-thru, they literally like are glad to give you half of the bag is half the food you ordered, and the rest of it is just sauce packets. Like we're talking like 80 to 100 sauce packets every time I go. And this isn't just one location. This is every experience I've ever had at any Taco Bell. You're getting mild all the way through Diablo, 80 packets of each flavor. I mean, they gotta. How much of this sauce are they making? It's startling to me. It's scary. It's scary. And then I just feel bad throwing it out. It's I don't know. Who knows? And I hate to pivot right from like unhealthy food to now me talking about whoops and if you guys know what that is, a whoop. Not like ooh whoops I messed up. I mean like a whoop, a fitness tracker wearable. But I think it's no secret that I'm a huge Garmin watch guy. Garmin watches have changed my life. I've been a wearable expert in terms of, and what I mean by that is I owned like a Whoop 3.0. I owned an Oura Ring, and I was really unimpressed with both of them. Almost like shocked, honestly. Then I had a Polar H10, which obviously isn't an all-day wearable, but that's incredibly accurate, and it's like almost a necessity if you're going to be doing cardio. And so that was my first like experience in having a positive experience with some type of like fitness tracker wearable. And then I said, you know what? I like watches, and I have some nice watches that I enjoy wearing. So I didn't want to get a Garmin watch because I knew if I did like it that I was going to not be able to wear my watches. But I got this Garmin watch. I got an Instinct 2, which is basically a Phoenix, which is like I guess their top of the line model, but it's a more rugged version of it, and it doesn't have like an OLED screen. It has like a retro, almost like G-Shock looking screen, but it's a fully functional smartwatch, and it has the exact same sensor as the Phoenix. So it's like pretty much as Garmin goes, top of the line. And just like everything it does, having the digital time on your wrist at all times, the battery life, the way it integrates my workouts, the actual Garmin Connect app, the integrations with Strava and with Peloton, or it doesn't actually integrate with Peloton, but the integrations it has with Strava, and just like being able to actually program my workouts, whether they're being like routes on running or cycling, or more importantly, my bodybuilding, my weightlifting splits. I can actually have like my whole workout mapped out with my rest times, and it's right there on my watch. I get my messages and texts, but like it's not so smartwatchy where I can answer from there. So it's just like a nice thing to have when I'm getting my phone. When my phone's getting a call, I know I'm getting a call, but I can't answer it and speak into the watch, which is nice. And the battery life's incredible, right? And then you pair it up with a heart rate sensor, with a chest sensor. It's literally a flawless piece of a technology. I really believe that. I guess the only gripe I have is that the sleep tracking isn't like A1. It's probably like I would give it like a B-. But I'm assuming in the future that'll be fixed with new models and new iterations. I mean, there's no nap tracking, but just like the way that they figure out like your I guess, like bodily stress level, whether it be through the body battery and having an idea of kind of if you're run down or not. It's been amazing, and it's been glued to my wrist. I've had this watch since probably, I want to say, like May of last year, May of 2022, and it has not left my wrist. I'm not even kidding, since. Like, the only time it comes off the wrist is when I need to charge it, and that's once every like 2 weeks, and that's for like an hour. So I literally have a permanent tan line like on my wrist from wearing this all the time. So anyway, I was still curious about the Whoop 4.0, not because I wanted it, or I thought it could be better than the Garmin, because I'm usually not like this, but like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and like trust me, this Garmin ain't broke. So I wanted to get the Whoop just because I wanted to see like how much better the sleep tracking was. So I got the Whoop 4.0, and I guess you get like a 30-day trial before you get locked into the annual thing. And just like the subscription model in general is highway robbery as well. I don't understand how anyone pays for that. But when you pair the $30 a month, if you're only going to go monthly, and even I think on a low level, it's like $18 maybe a month at the lowest level. I could be maybe actually like overshooting that. It might be like $20. So on a low level, right, you're talking about like, geez, like $240 a month maybe. On the low level, or excuse me, a year. So now you're paying for your data. The actual wearable itself has no screen on it, which I understand that's kind of the point, but at the same time, because it has no screen on it and it's like smaller, the battery life should be good. It's literally 3 or 4 days and then it's done. It doesn't pair to a heart rate monitor that's not a Whoop, and what I mean by that is you can't use a chest strap sensor, so it's going to just inherently be less accurate. And their interface on their app is horrible. And just like the way you go about it, like I understand it's nice to have all-day HRV, but I have that on my Garmin now as well with the firmware updates. So the point of having this Whoop on my wrist, every time I wake up, I have to journal shit and tell it shit, which sure isn't an option on the Garmin, but like it's kind of unnecessary. And I honestly have not noticed too much of a discrepancy in the sleep tracking between the Garmin and the Whoop. It obviously tracks my naps, so I've noticed that, and the times are slightly off, and I'm assuming the Whoop would be more accurate in that regard. But this is a PSA to anyone who is wanting a fitness wearable, or maybe has a Whoop and doesn't know like how much greener the grass is on the other side, or vice versa. Someone who like has a Garmin and might switch over. The Whoop, honestly, I'm not just saying this; it's a piece of garbage. It really is. To pay monthly on a subscription basis for this, and for it to provide you little to no value in terms of just like how the interface is so complex compared to even the Oura Ring's interface was more simple, and how the Garmin has just so much better features, and it's such a better like multi-sport like thing. And I understand that the Whoop is for like wellness, so is the Garmin. This Garmin does, again, pretty much every single thing the Whoop does, but it does way more. It does it better, and you own it. Once you have this, you own it. It's done. There's no monthly payments. If you have this for 4 years, you're not paying like $1,000 for this fucking thing. It is everything that any type of like runner or athlete that like is interested in tracking and seeing the analytics of their life. It's everything that you can want and more. So that's my little mini review of the Whoop versus the Garmin. Now let's pivot to sports quickly before this podcast is over. I'd been meaning to do a full sports podcast specifically around the Super Bowl, but a lot of stuff came up and I wasn't able to get it done. I know I've been meaning to do that twice weekly live show on YouTube, and I'm going to get to that, but I'm going to have to make some time for it in the coming weeks. So to make a long story short, objectively, I really think the Eagles are going to win. I'm not saying I'm rooting for them, but I think they're just too good on both sides of the ball. I know the Chiefs' D-line against Cincinnati did very well, but this is not Cincinnati's offensive line. This is one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the sport. So I think the Eagles will be able to hand themselves on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively they're a powerhouse. So I just think about like a scenario in which the Chiefs win, and it's going to be just heavy on Mahomes. I really think it is. Now, who I'm rooting for, it's a toss-up. There's aspects of both teams that I like and I don't like. Love Andy Reid. I really hope not only does he get his second title to kind of put him in a much higher conversation of really one of the best coaches of all time, but more so I want to see him beat Philadelphia, his old team, because I always feel like when you're a little bit older, obviously he's not retiring anytime soon, but he's just getting there. That's another like notch in his belt that he could say he did. At the end of that day, you retire. He might think back if he loses this one and say, damn, I couldn't win when I was there, and then they beat me. Damn. So I hope he wins because of that, but I don't know. Both the Kelceys really rubbed me the wrong way, but I really don't like Jason. Travis is all right, but Mahomes also, I feel like I shouldn't dislike him, but I kind of do. He kind of gives me that Steph Curry vibe, and I just can't stand his wife and his brother, obviously. But then the Eagles, the reason why, I would not be rooting for the Eagles if Jalen Hurts wasn't the quarterback. I love Jalen Hurts. That's the reason why I'm rooting for them, and I love Devontae Smith as well. But I can't stand Jason Kelce, and I really am starting to hate Nick Sirianni. I am. So I'm just going to hope for a good game, I guess. I don't really care. Both teams would annoy me. I guess I'd be rooting for the Chiefs just because the Philly fan base, and there's a lot of people I know who are just brutal Philly fans. So I guess I'd be rooting for the Chiefs, but I do think the Birds are going to win. I do. Now, other NFL news quickly. Rookies of the Year came out, offensive and defensive, and both on the Jets. Sauce and Garrett, and make no mistake, if Brees was healthy, he's probably edging out Garrett. So that draft is legendary, right? You got probably the three best players in the whole draft on the skill side positions, and obviously corner isn't, but it is. And so, just so much shit to look forward to, but it's so up in it's just everyone knows it's just up for grabs now with no quarterback. Who knows? I mean, you could bring in Rodgers tomorrow, and it's like the craziest. It's going to be a Super Bowl almost favorite type season. Or you can bring in Derek Carr, and it's still going to be exciting. You're going to be expecting to get into the playoffs. Or, I don't know how they would, but they bring in no one. Or they even bring in Jimmy G, who's going to inevitably get hurt, and then you're going to be back at Zach Wilson. So it's a weird time right now, but to see them win those awards was awesome. Garrett Wilson's my favorite player in the NFL, I think. Easy. My next jersey that I buy will be his, so I'm excited. Then let's talk about NBA quickly. I'll just make some brief comments on it. I can't stand LeBron, always have, always will. It's getting tough for me to combat the GOAT argument, though. It really is with all the stats, but he's just such an unlikable jerk-off, and for him to ruin that moment with dropping an F-bomb at the end of that speech is a disgrace to the NBA. The NBA has become, and this is coming from a guy who I still kind of am, I guess I consider just because of like my past, was such a big NBA fan, was probably my favorite league for a long time. Although I'm from New York, I really mean this, I was a diehard Phoenix Suns fan for forever. Steve Nash was my idol. I loved those teams, the D'Antoni teams, and I mean, for them to have that bad luck against the Spurs cost them a championship. I really believe that. They would have got to the championship, they would have got to the finals and won. And so those were some of the best and worst times in my life, literally rooting for that team in high school and in middle school, and I loved it. And the NBA was amazing, it was fun, it was exciting, personalities, it was great. And then slowly but surely, it's gotten shittier and shittier. It's become a politicized soap opera reality TV show. And listen, I'm all for player empowerment, I am. But it's gotten to a point where it's become a parody of itself. Kyrie Irving is so poisonous and toxic for the league. The fact that he has to say, and I'm shocked that Mark Cuban would want him on that squad, it makes me now want to root against Luka. And when he says things like, I'm just glad Katie got out of there, Kyrie, you were the one who made it what it was, dude. You ruined that franchise. You literally robbed them, and you're the most selfish athlete I think I've ever seen in my life. There's not even a close second. It's a disgrace what he does. Forget about his statements he's made and all the stupid shit he said. I'm just talking about his actions, about playing and not playing. It's just pathetic to see, and it annoys me. And when you pair that with a lot of other things around the league, we had the deadline just come and go. Everyone's swapping. No one's happy. I feel bad for John Wall. I just watched him talk shit about the Houston Rockets, and now he's back with Houston. But yeah, just Kyrie really rubs me the wrong way. Phoenix now. So to make a long story short, I was a huge Phoenix Suns fan. Then, I mean, this is kind of shallow of me, but as their special run waned. And also, like, after Nash, my favorite player ever was Goran Dragic. After that waned, and they drafted Book, and it was, like, kind of a rebuild a little bit, I lost interest, and I was just, like, kind of into the NBA as a whole. Then during the bubble, I really fell in love with the Nuggets and Jamal Murray. Now, it happens to be that they're the best team in the league right now, and Jokic is just, like, literally Larry Bird, but or better, honestly. Who the fuck knows at this point? He's gonna hope. I mean, he should win MVP again, 3 in a row. It's nuts. But so all these teams swapping players, and it's just getting annoying, and all this shit, and it's like a highlight reel based league. And anyway, LeBron with the whole stopping, like I don't know. every sport was a good point. I mean, every sport did stop. I mean, I was watching something on Barstool. They were saying, like, even like when Ripken broke the record for most games in a row, they stopped the game. He did a whole trotter on the field. So they do that normally. But the celebrities was so much with Rihanna and Drake and all this shit. And I love Drake, obviously. But, like, all this shit, Bad Bunny, he's got to go up and dap up. It's like, dude, this is a fucking joke, this league. It's a joke. The NFL, the MLB, and even the NHL are light years ahead of the NBA now. And it's become unwatchable. I've rarely watched games this year. I will watch the playoffs, as I always do, the final, or just the NBA playoffs in general. But it's become brutal. It's become brutal, and I hope that I'm wrong and that in years to come it changes. But for right now, it looks like it's doomed. I think Adam Silver's done a horrible job. It's just bad. So that really pissed me off. The Kyrie shit and just LeBron himself. But I will admit it's getting tough for me to say Jordan still. And that's it for basketball. And then I'll say a quick thing. This is kind of old news, but I'll just because I haven't talked sports in about a week and a half. But Cashman's comments are a joke. And this is another thing. It's a little bit of a laborious. Is that a word? I think it might be a word. Thing to talk about all sports just because I'm a Jets fan and now I'm like slacking with the NBA because it's just like kind of turned me off recently. But anyone who knows me knows I'm like obviously like a diehard baseball fan. I love baseball more than anything. Watch probably 150 plus games a year on the Yankees end. I'm like really up to date with the Mets. I probably watch like over 100 Mets games a year. I'm recording shit all the time. MLB Network's on repeat in wherever I'm at. So when the Yankees start playing, I'll be talking a lot about sports. But yeah, so Cashman comes out with the comments talking about how Yankees fans should feel and how it wasn't a bad season. And in reality, they were 4 games away from the World Series and having the opportunity to win another championship. What fucking world is this guy living in? I mean, it's the comments of a guy who knows his job is not in any jeopardy and that after you embarrass yourself in the playoffs, you get an extension or you get re-signed, right? Because you can't, and Brandon Tierney, who, I mean, it's no secret, I love him. Brandon Tierney said, just like spot on, that like not only can you not tell the fans how to feel, but I mean, this team hit whatever they hit. I don't even know the numbers anymore because it's just gotten so old at this point. They hit like they almost got beat by a team of rookies basically who had no business being in the playoffs, and then they get just embarrassed by the Astros in 4 games. Didn't even have a swinging, punching chance in that series. So for Cashman to come out and say that shit really rubbed me the wrong way. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this year. Haven't made a move for a left fielder yet. I'm not like the biggest anti-Hicks guy because I don't think he's that relevant anymore. Like the contract isn't that glaring of an issue being that we have Donaldson on the books and that's a fucking joke. But they haven't made a single move other than obviously re-signing Judge and Rodon, which, yeah, it's a good addition, but I'm a broken record at this point. Pitching has never been the issue. So we shall see what happens this year. They're probably a 92-plus win team, but the issue of not being able to hit when it counts has not been solved. Judge has got to wake up when it counts, and it's going to be just another long, brutal watch, being that like they're going to get your hopes up, they're going to go through some runs, then they're going to go through some down times where you're like, yeah, I knew this team wasn't good, and then they're going to maybe come in hot in the playoffs and then do the same shit they always do. First, second round exit. And just be brutal, but we shall see. We shall see. So this is a quick one. I think it's under 40 minutes, I'd say. But Johnny Kith is going to sign off here. Looking forward to the Super Bowl. Everyone be safe. If you are drinking, please do not drive. And I guess let's go Chiefs. The jury's still out for me on that, but yeah, probably let's go Chiefs. And signing off. We'll speak soon. Cheers.